7 signs an elderly person may be in their final year. Subtle warnings you shouldn't ignore. There's a moment in life we rarely want to think about, yet it comes for every one of us. It's the quiet, unspoken truth that someone we love may be approaching the end of their journey, not because of a sudden illness or a dramatic change, but through a series of small, almost invisible shifts that whisper what words cannot say. These changes don't arrive with fanfare. They don't announce themselves in bold letters. Instead, they appear like faint footprints on the sand, easy to overlook if we're not paying attention, but carrying deep meaning if we choose to see them. I want you to imagine sitting with someone dear to you, maybe a parent, a grandparent, a lifelong friend. You've known the rhythm of their presence for years, the sound of their voice, the way they move, the expressions they make without thinking. And then slowly, something begins to feel different. They don't eat the same way. They're quieter, more distant. They spend more time resting. The sparkle in their eyes appears less often, replaced by a soft, faraway look. It's not an immediate alarm, but a subtle shift, one that settles into your heart before you can even name it. These signs are not about hopelessness, nor are they an exact calendar of how much time remains. They are nature's gentle indicators, ways the body and mind prepare for a final transition. And here's the truth we often avoid. Recognizing them is not about predicting death. It's about deepening love. It's about using the time that's left to be present, to listen more closely, to offer the kind of comfort that only someone who truly knows them can give. I know that even talking about this can feel heavy. We prefer stories about recovery, hope, and new beginnings. But in every human life, there is also a final chapter. And in that chapter, there can be beauty. There can be profound connection. There can be moments that, though bittersweet, stay with us forever. The more we understand what these signs mean, the more we can respond with compassion rather than fear. Over the course of this conversation, I want to walk with you through 7 subtle but significant signs that an elderly person may be in their final year of life. Not because we need to brace ourselves for loss, but because awareness can change everything. It can shift us from reacting in worry to acting with love. It can help us focus on presence rather than panic, on moments rather than months. What I'm about to share is not medical diagnosis, it's human observation, drawn from the quiet realities that families, caregivers, and healthcare workers witness every day. These are patterns that often appear when a body begins to slow down, when the journey forward is measured more in days lived fully than years counted in the distance. If we can open our hearts to noticing these moments, we give ourselves and our loved ones an extraordinary gift. We stop rushing past the ordinary. We hold hands longer. We say the words we've been keeping in our hearts. We make peace with what's been left unsaid. And in doing so, we discover that even in the shadow of goodbye, there is light, soft, steady, and unforgettable. Because in the end, the measure of a life isn't only in how long it lasts, but in how deeply we love while it's still here. And sometimes, it's the smallest signs that remind us to love harder than ever before. Number 1. Declining appetite and noticeable weight loss. One of the earliest and most common signs that an elderly person may be approaching the final year of their life is a gradual, sustained change in their eating habits. This isn't about skipping a meal here and there, or having a picky moment. It's a deeper, more consistent shift, a quiet turning away from the foods they once enjoyed, a lack of interest even in favorite treats, and a noticeable reduction in how much or how often they eat. You might notice that they push food around on their plate rather than eating it. Meals that once brought comfort or joy now seem to require too much effort. Some will say they're simply not hungry, while others may stop mentioning food altogether. This isn't laziness or stubbornness. It's the body's natural way of conserving energy as it begins to slow down. In the final stages of life, the metabolism changes, digestion slows, and the body's demand for fuel decreases. Eating becomes less of a priority, because the body is redirecting energy toward maintaining vital functions. The physical signs often follow. Over weeks or months, clothes may start to hang looser, cheekbones become more pronounced, and hands may feel bonier to the touch. You may also notice that their sense of taste changes. Foods might taste bland, overly salty, or even unpleasant. Sometimes this is due to medications affecting appetite and taste, but other times it's a reflection of the body's deeper shifts. It's easy to panic when you see someone you love eating less, but the key here is gentle awareness. Instead of insisting they eat more, think about what brings them comfort. Small, nutrient-rich portions can be offered without pressure. Sometimes, a few bites of something familiar and well-loved carry more emotional nourishment than a full plate of food they have no desire for. This is also a time to pay attention to hydration, as the desire to drink can decrease alongside appetite. When you see this change, it's not always about counting calories. It's about recognizing that the body is quietly entering a different stage of life. This awareness gives you the chance to create moments around food that are about connection rather than nutrition alone. Sharing a cup of tea, sitting together at the table, or offering a favorite fruit can become small acts of love, even if they eat only a little. It's less about filling the stomach and more about filling the heart. Number 2. Increasing fatigue and withdrawal from activities. As the final year of life approaches, many elderly people begin to spend more time resting. This isn't the usual tiredness we all feel after a busy day. It's a deep, persistent fatigue that settles into their daily rhythm. You might notice them sleeping longer at night, taking more naps during the day, or preferring to stay in one place rather than move around. Energy becomes a precious resource, and the body starts rationing it carefully. Activities that were once routine, gardening, cooking, chatting on the phone, may feel like too much effort. Even short walks can leave them drained. At first, this may appear subtle, such as sitting down more often while doing chores, or needing extra time to get ready. Over time, the withdrawal becomes more apparent, and days become quieter. This withdrawal doesn't happen only physically. It often includes a step back from social interaction. Phone calls go unanswered, visits are shorter, and group gatherings feel overwhelming. They may choose to spend more time alone, or only with a few close people. This isn't necessarily a sign of sadness or depression, although those can sometimes be present. More often, it's the body and mind's way of preparing for a slower, more inward-focused stage. For loved ones, this change can feel like rejection, but it's important to understand that it's not personal. Pushing someone to be more active can sometimes cause frustration or exhaustion. Instead, meeting them where they are, literally and emotionally, can make all the difference. Sitting quietly together, sharing a favorite show, or simply holding hands can mean more to them than any energetic outing. Fatigue in the final year often has a layered cause: reduced heart function, lower oxygen levels, muscle loss, and the body's increasing need to conserve energy for essential processes. It's nature's way of guiding them toward rest. Recognizing this shift allows you to adjust expectations and focus on quality time, rather than trying to restore a level of activity that may no longer be possible or comfortable. By accepting this new pace and honoring their need for rest, you create a space where they can feel safe and understood. And in that quiet space, some of the most profound conversations, smiles, and shared moments can happen, reminding us that even as the body slows, the heart can still be very much alive. Number 3. Significant changes in breathing patterns. One of the more noticeable yet often misunderstood signs in the final year of life is a shift in breathing. At first, it may be subtle. Perhaps they pause slightly longer between breaths or seem a bit winded after light activity. Over time, these changes can become more pronounced even when they're at rest. You might see their chest rising and falling in an irregular rhythm or hear a faint wheeze that wasn't there before. In some cases, the breathing pattern may follow what's known as Cheyne-Stokes respiration. This is when breathing alternates between deep, rapid breaths and periods of very shallow or even paused breathing. It can be unsettling to witness, especially if you've never seen it before, but it's a natural part of how the body adjusts when the heart and lungs are no longer working at full capacity. You might also notice shortness of breath while speaking, or the need to take breaks mid-sentence. Even lying in bed, they may shift positions more often in search of comfort, propping themselves up with pillows to make breathing easier. Sometimes their lips or fingertips may take on a slight bluish tint, a sign that oxygen levels are lower than usual. For family and friends, these moments can create a wave of anxiety. Should you call a doctor, rush them to the hospital, or simply sit beside them? While sudden and severe breathing difficulties always require urgent medical attention, slow, progressive changes are often part of the body's natural decline. Understanding this helps you respond with calm rather than panic. Comfort can be offered in many ways: keeping the room at a comfortable temperature, using a fan to create gentle airflow, or helping them find a position that eases their breathing. If hospice care is involved, they may provide oxygen or medications to reduce discomfort. But just as important as physical relief is emotional reassurance, letting them know you are there, that they are safe, and that they don't have to face those changes alone. Breathing is life's most constant rhythm, so when it changes, it reminds us how fragile and precious our time is. By learning to recognize these patterns, we give ourselves a chance to respond with love and patience, making each breath, no matter how slow or uneven, an opportunity for connection. Number 4. Noticeable decline in mental sharpness. The mind, like the body, can begin to slow down in the final year of life. This change doesn't always happen suddenly. It can unfold gradually, making it easy to miss at first. You might notice them repeating questions, losing track of conversations, or becoming momentarily disoriented about time or place. Sometimes they may struggle to recognize familiar faces right away, or forget why they walked into a room. For some, this shift feels like a cloud drifting across their thoughts, moments of clarity, followed by stretches of confusion. The causes can be complex: reduced circulation to the brain, changes in oxygen levels, side effects of medication, or the general toll of the body's declining systems. Whatever the reason, the result is often the same. They need more patience, more gentle reminders, and more understanding. There's also something mysterious that happens for certain individuals nearing life's end: episodes of what's known as terminal lucidity. These are moments when, after days or weeks of confusion, they suddenly become alert, articulate, and deeply aware. They may recall vivid memories, express long-held feelings, or speak words that carry profound emotional weight. These moments can be both beautiful and bittersweet, offering a glimpse of the person you've always known, even as they near their final days. The decline in mental sharpness can also bring shifts in personality. Someone once talkative may become quiet and introspective. A person who was independent in decision-making may now lean on you for guidance. It's important to understand that these changes are not a sign of giving up. They're a reflection of the brain's changing capacity. Supporting someone through this stage means adjusting how we communicate. Speak slowly and clearly, keep surroundings familiar, and avoid overwhelming them with too many questions at once. Sometimes the most meaningful connection comes from sitting together in silence, holding hands, or looking at old photos that stir gentle recognition. While it can be painful to see a loved one's sharpness fade, this is also a time to lean into presence rather than perfection. Even when the mind struggles to keep pace, the heart often still recognizes love. They may forget details, but they rarely forget the feeling of being cared for, and that is something you can give, fully and without hesitation, until the very end. Number 5. Changes in skin, temperature, and circulation. The skin often tells a story long before words do, and in the final year of life it can quietly reveal how the body is shifting its priorities. You may notice the skin becoming cooler to the touch, especially in the hands and feet. Sometimes it feels as if warmth retreats from the extremities, concentrating instead on the core where vital organs are working hard to sustain life. This is a natural process. When circulation slows, the body directs blood flow to where it's needed most. In some cases, the skin begins to show a mottled or blotchy pattern, often appearing in shades of purple, blue, or red. This mottling typically starts in the feet and legs before slowly moving upward, and it's a sign that the small blood vessels near the skin surface aren't receiving as much blood as they once did. While it may look alarming, it is not usually painful. It's simply another way the body signals that it's conserving energy. The overall texture and elasticity of the skin may also change. It can become thinner, more fragile, and bruise more easily. Cuts or sores may heal more slowly, and even gentle bumps can leave a mark. Temperature sensitivity may increase as well. Someone who once didn't mind a cool breeze may now ask for extra blankets or warmer clothing. For caregivers and loved ones, these changes call for both attentiveness and tenderness. Soft fabrics, warm layers, and gentle touch can bring real comfort. Keeping their environment at a stable temperature and avoiding drafts can make them feel more at ease. If the skin is dry or irritated, light moisturizers can help, but always be mindful of their comfort and preferences. What matters most in this stage is not only the physical care, but also the emotional reassurance you give. Holding their hand when it feels cold, wrapping them in a blanket they love, or simply sitting close can offer warmth that no heater can match. These are the moments when love becomes something you can feel in the fingertips. A quiet, wordless reminder that they are cared for and not alone. Number 6. Shifts in sleep patterns and awareness. In the final year of life, sleep often becomes a dominant part of the day. It's not uncommon for someone to spend more time resting than awake, sometimes sleeping 14 to 18 hours or more. This isn't just fatigue. It's the body slowly turning inward, conserving strength for its most essential functions. The brain too begins to need more downtime as it manages the complex changes happening within. At first you might notice they take longer naps or seem to drift off easily during the day. Over time, the boundaries between day and night may blur. They may sleep for long stretches, wake briefly, and then drift off again without much awareness of the clock. This change can be disorienting for loved ones, especially if you were used to a predictable routine of meals, conversations, and activities. Along with increased sleep, there may be moments when their awareness of the outside world seems less steady. They might respond slowly when spoken to, take longer to process questions, or seem caught between wakefulness and dreaming. It's as if their mind is gradually shifting its focus from the external to the internal, from the noise of daily life to the quiet of inner reflection. Yet even in these long hours of rest, there can be brief treasured moments of connection. A familiar voice, a favorite song, or the gentle presence of someone they love can draw them into wakefulness. These awakenings may be short, but they can carry deep meaning. Sometimes a smile, a whispered "I love you," or a squeeze of the hand is enough to speak volumes. For those providing care, it's important to let go of the expectation that they should be awake and engaged as often as before. Forcing stimulation or activity can cause stress and fatigue. Instead, creating a peaceful environment, a quiet room, soft lighting, familiar scents can make their rest more restorative. When you accept and honor these shifts in sleep and awareness, you begin to see them not as loss but as part of the body's natural way of preparing. And in the spaces between sleep and waking, you may find that the simplest gestures, presence, touch, gentle words, become the most meaningful form of communication. Number 7. Subtle emotional and spiritual transitions. As the physical body slows down, something else often begins to take shape. A quiet shift in the emotional and spiritual life of the person you love. This is not always visible at first. It can be as gentle as a change in the topics they bring up, the memories they revisit, or the way they look at you during moments of silence. Over time, it becomes clear that their focus is turning toward deeper, more lasting matters: relationships, meaning, legacy, and peace. You might notice them expressing feelings they've kept to themselves for years. Sometimes they want to settle old disagreements, offer forgiveness, or ask for it. Other times, they feel a strong urge to tell stories from their childhood, recall people long gone, or share life lessons they hope you'll carry forward. These are not random conversations, they are threads in the final tapestry they're weaving. For some, spiritual beliefs come to the forefront. They may speak more about faith, the afterlife, or their sense of what comes next. Even those who have never been religious might express a feeling of being ready, or talk about seeing signs from loved ones who have already passed. Dreams or visions of family members who have died are surprisingly common in this stage, and to the person experiencing them, they often feel comforting rather than frightening. Emotionally, there may also be a kind of gentle detachment from the day-to-day concerns that once mattered so much. Bills, errands, and plans for next month fade in importance, while moments of connection rise to the surface. They may seek more time with certain people, or sometimes prefer quiet solitude to reflect. Both are natural and should be respected. This is where your role becomes both simple and profound: to listen without judgment, to sit without the need to fill the silence, and to allow them to guide the conversation or the stillness. It's not about fixing anything. It's about honoring the journey they are on, giving space for them to say what they need to say, and letting them know in words and actions that they are loved, accepted, and at peace in your presence. The signs we've explored are not crystal balls. They do not mark an exact date or hour, but they are nature's quiet way of telling us that time may be shorter than we imagine. Declining appetite, deep fatigue, changes in breathing, shifts in mental clarity, the transformation of skin and circulation, altered sleep patterns, and profound emotional or spiritual transitions, each is a thread in the fabric of life's final chapter. Recognizing these signs is not about dwelling in fear. It's about embracing the gift of awareness. When we understand what might be happening, we stop taking moments for granted. We hold hands longer, listen more intently, and speak the words we've been saving for the right time. We stop assuming that there will always be another day to make that phone call, cook that favorite meal, or sit together in the fading light. The truth is, the final year of someone's life can be filled with extraordinary beauty. There can be laughter, tender moments, and even joy in the midst of sadness. There can be a deeper honesty in conversations, a sharper focus on what really matters, and a greater appreciation for the fragile, precious nature of time. If someone you love is showing these signs, let it move you toward presence, not panic. You do not need to have the perfect words or the perfect plan. What they will remember, and what you will carry long after they are gone, is that you were there, that you sat beside them, that you loved them with your full attention. In the end, life's final chapter is not only about the person who is leaving, it is also about the ones who remain, and how we choose to spend the time we are given together. If you can face this chapter with compassion, openness, and love, you will find that even in the shadow of goodbye, there is a kind of light that never fades,